I've had a friend who would go to work
Yeah.
to apply for other jobs.
Thank you.
Literally, she would wake up, she'd be like, you know what? What I need mjengo, and she uses that word, she knows herself,
Yeah.
to just go and apply for jobs using the other job's Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And
Are we not ashamed? Are we not ashamed? Okay.
But they're there and they're being paid.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, have you ever looked at your life, your job, your business, and thought, I'm still here, but I checked out a while ago? You did not quit, but your energy did, your excitement did, and your joy did. And the scary part, no one notices. Today's conversation is all about the people who show up despite feeling completely discouraged. And who better to join me for this conversation than Doris Change? Dr. Doris, how are you today?
Thank you. Wow.
Looking lovely.
What an intro. Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe tell the guys a little bit about yourself and why you're so passionate about workspaces, especially for women, burnout and all that.
You know, I love calling myself the queen of thank God it's Monday again.
Thank God. Girl.
Thank God it's Monday again. You know, because how many of us love Mondays?
Well, I don't. I honestly don't.
And we'll get to look into why. And this cuts across everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have entrepreneurs who also don't love Mondays. We have employees who don't love Mondays. We have leaders, bosses, people in senior leadership who don't love Mondays.
We even have jobless people who don't love
Mondays as well.
It's just an unlovable day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult to understand because it's a job you are praying for.
Yes.
It's your dream business.
Yeah.
Why don't you love the Monday anymore? So that is what I specialize in.
Mm-hmm.
So I specialize in corporate governance and leadership and making workplaces a better place where people say, yay, it's Monday again. Because the routine is we're always excited about Friday. In the offices, people are happy. You know, when you go next to the water cooler or in the break room, people are excited about the weekend.
Yeah, because Friday means we get to leave. We are exiting. And what better thing to do at a workplace than leave?
But remember, we spend most of our day in our workplaces. So it's not really fair having an entire work life hating your job. So how do we turn these workplaces into places we enjoy, that we're excited to be part of? Because remember, these are jobs that we applied for, we went to school for,
we prayed
for, we talked to that relative
to get us the
spot. And then why do we hate the places?
Because it's just toxic sometimes. Anyway, before we get into that, how do you spot someone? Because sometimes we don't even know it ourselves. How do we spot someone who is burnt out and mentally has checked out from a job situation?
So, very important question. And the word that I use, before we talk about burnout, there's disengagement.
Yes. What is disengagement?
So disengagement is somebody who's there. They're there physically. Okay. And disengagement is very different from non-performance. So engagement and performance are two different things.
Enlighten us.
An employee can perform. And they're performing basically because of what? Because of compliance. You know, we've seen and have worked with managers and leaders who believe that to get results from you, they must intimidate you. If you don't perform, guess what? Your time here is limited.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's that employee who will just perform because they have rent to pay next month. So
okay,
they're ticking a box.
Don't we all, honestly. We perform because we need the money to get through life.
But the best space to be, which is employee engagement, is somebody who looks forward to that job. And we can create those workplaces. It's possible. There's research that has been done on it. I've been part of the research. And it's tremendous when you see the transformation work happening in the workplaces, where you have an employee, we have physical engagement, we have emotional engagement, and we have cognitive engagement. So the physical engaged employee is the one who's physically there and energetic. You know, they're happy to be there. I mean, I've seen workplaces where all employees are just wishing for that day off.
Yes.
And not because they even have a shuguli, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
just because they don't want to show up.
To be in that space
Yes.
anymore.
So they kill their grandmother, they kill their father, they kill all relatives.
Well, haven't we? And then you forget you killed that grandmother, so you're trying to find
Exactly.
another grandmother.
You try to kill them again.
Yeah.
You know? So a physically engaged employee is there, and they are not looking for another job.
Mhm.
You know, you can have employees seated in their office, but they are all browsing on job sites. They are all looking for work. That's not a physically engaged employee.
You're talking of this. I've had a friend who would go to work
Yeah.
to apply for other jobs.
Thank you.
Literally, she would wake up. She'd be like, you know what? What I need mjengo, and she uses that word. She knows herself to just go and apply for jobs using the other jobs' Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And
are we not ashamed? Are we not ashamed? Okay.
But they're there and they're being paid.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah.
Or they're, those who are there, they're there physically, but they're either on social media. I've seen employees watching movies, like a whole series.
Okay. Right. But who is to blame? Is it the employer? Is it the employee? Who is to blame in this tug of war?
We'll get to reach what leadership has to do.
Yeah.
The role that is played by leadership, because it's very important.
Yeah.
Because some leaders believe, but I employed capable people.
Yeah.
I'm not here to babysit you.
But
leadership, the word leadership means a lot.
Okay.
So the second type of engagement is emotional engagement. People are excited to work for this organization.
Yeah.
There are some places where you work and you're in a gathering, like a bash, birthday party, but you can't even tell people you work for that organization.
You don't want to be associated.
You don't want to be associated.
Oh God, I hope not. Oh Lord.
It takes away from you.
Yeah.
And even for, that organization to appear on your CV, it's taking away from you. So that is somebody who's emotionally disengaged. They don't even want to be there. They don't want to be associated.
At all.
Yeah. Then we have cognitive engagement. This is somebody who is an innovator. They're excited. So you've given them a role to perform, but they do more. They're always thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
They're just not doing the role the way, following instructions, but they're giving it a little bit more.
Yeah.
They're thinking of solutions. Yeah. They're just not an employee who follows orders. They are thinking extra. How do we make this? Yes. Yeah. So as a leader, how do you ensure that? Because actually, if you look at what research says, only 20% of employees are engaged, fully engaged globally.
Only
20%.
So if you have like 10, only 2.
Only 20% of employees
and how
are
do
engaged.
You... Okay.
Yes.
All right. Makes me wonder. Makes me start thinking about, okay, all right.
Yeah. So the rest are just surviving. They're just showing up.
Just getting through the day.
And I like using this analogy when I'm even, training leaders. And most of the time, most of my leaders are male leaders. And I tell them, it's like having that wife who checked out. They don't even want to tell people they are your wife.
Yeah, they don't even want to be associated.
They don't want to be associated with you.
Who?
Yes.
Use my name, please. We know them. Don't call me Mrs. Otieno. Tafadhali jina langu ni Agatha. Can we stick to that business?
Exactly.
All right.
And sometimes they are not divorcing you yet.
Yeah.
So they are not leaving.
Yeah.
But they checked out. They're living their own lives. So that is what I talk about. We talk about employee disengagement. If you look at today's, the economy we are in, not everybody has the luxury to live. But high turnover is also, a sign of employee disengagement. But if you look at our economy right now, who's about to quit? Where are they going? So they'll be within your organization, but give you the bare minimum. And sometimes leaders confuse low turnover for employees are excited to be here. They're here, but they don't want to be here. They have nowhere else to go. That's not the employee you want. Yeah. So in a nutshell, I think I've talked about all angles.
All the phases.
Yes, of employee engagement.
At what point does disengagement become dangerous to both the employer and the employee?
Let's start from the employer. So and I talk about employer, I'll talk about the leader as well. Because, I mean, you're leading an organization, these are your subordinates. And, you had these people, you had them for an interview, they're competent enough, they came excited, and I've seen it in organizations. So, so there's some research I did about the millennials. So the year is around 2007, 2008, when millennials are the fresh graduates. They are the Gen Zs for today. There was a time we were. And they're very excited getting into workspaces. And there's a research I did on a parastatal. So these employees get in, we know the usual public sector problems, because I do a lot of my research on public sector.
Okay.
So they feel they are able to sort out all these problems. This company has problems with customer satisfaction, has problems with service delivery, has problems. Then you get into the organization and you realize, by the way, these people who work here, they know all these problems. There's nothing new you're telling them.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. But then, so once this employee gets into this space, then they realize that, okay, this is not a space where even my ideas are needed. So as an employer, the problem, because you asked me, how does this affect employers? So you bring in these new people, but what is the culture within your organization? What's the culture? Because remember, for you, you're getting the bare minimum from them. But you're paying them at the end of the day, but you're receiving bare minimum. And I hope this goes out even to SMEs, young entrepreneurs who are trying to make it, in business, because you have this team, but then they're giving you the bare minimum. But look at yourself as a leader. It's a fallacy. People believe that leaders are born. We confuse charisma, somebody who's loud and who walks into a room and we are all, impressed.
The confidence.
Yes, that's the leader. No, leadership is learned. And we find leaders who have never known what leadership is. They got the leadership positions through any means. Some of them, you are the best salesperson, and now you've been promoted into leadership. You are tackling, sales activities. But now you're given a group and you're told, lead them. There are people who you got into that position because you know someone. There are people you go. So leadership, in a nutshell, is an art. It's something that has to be learned. So you have these people. How do you turn them to be engaged employees? Number one, what's the culture? Culture is not what you write in your books. It's not what you write in, documents and policies. Culture is what is experienced, what is lived, And we have culture even in our families to describe it in an easy way.
So it's like the day-to-day.
Yes. I might come to your house and kids are not allowed to jump on the couch. But in my house, maybe that's okay. So what is the lived experience when it comes to day to day? Are they able? Is it a place where mistakes are valued? And I say this as an entrepreneur because sometimes it comes off as I don't understand mistakes can be expensive. Yes, I know mistakes are very expensive to businesses, but are you allowing your people to be in that space where mistakes? Where they make mistakes in such situations, they are not humiliated, they are not punished, they are not ridiculed, they are not harassed. A scenario where, a culture where mistakes are used as learning experiences. And even, are your employees able to reach out to you before the mistake is realized?
But just pause, because that one makes me wonder. So how do you make the employees feel consequences of their actions? Because some mistakes can be very expensive.
Yes.
Let's say we're doing a podcast here and someone blows up the camera. How do I handle that situation? Because that camera is worth maybe $1 million shillings. I can't just put it under the carpet.
Great question. You see there are terms of engagement when you get into office. If you're using particular tools in the office, we know this tool is this equipment is supposed to be used in this manner. All workplaces have that. They're the do's and don'ts. But then there are mistakes that are part of learning. For
Okay.
example, and I'll still use, because of I'm a mother, I love using so many examples from the home.
Yeah.
When your child is learning how to walk,
Mm-hmm.
they will fall.
Many
They will
times.
pull on a tablecloth,
Yeah.
which is on the table, and there was a glass on top of it. But they were learning how to walk.
Okay.
So do you beat them up? But there's a child who'll come and drop down the TV screen or there are those mistakes that were not part of learning. So as a leader, you can distinguish. Was
Okay.
this negligence? Was this a learning process?
Was
Was
it
this
intentional event?
Yes. So from a leadership position,
Mm-hmm.
you can easily know and guide accordingly. And remember, as much as we talk about employees love autonomy, that's
Mm-hmm.
another way of having them engage in their workplaces, giving them room to make decisions, giving them room to experiment and to think outside the box and to innovate, not allowing your workplace to be a place where you just back orders at your employees. So if you create that space where you can listen to their ideas, and as much as you're giving them autonomy, we are also not advising you to be a laissez-faire leader where now everything goes. You're not engaged because even you as a leader, as much as you're giving them autonomy, you're part of the team. As a leader, you need to be part of the team to understand the challenges, to be able to predict when we are, even risks. You have to be part and parcel of the team, not as an outsider watching in, because as an outsider, you wouldn't know even the challenges your people are going through.
I do get that, but sometimes human beings are human beings, and they tend to take advantage. Because someone can find, oh, my employer is so good. You know what? I do this just because they're so understanding and so nice. So how do we discern that this is a boundary being crossed now at this moment? Because sometimes it's really hard for some employers, to put their foot down because they're just nice people. How do we identify a boundary has been crossed and this employee is just taking me for a ride now?
Two things here that I want to talk about. So in that scenario you've mentioned, so there's a dysfunction. So that's a leader who avoids conflict and who avoids difficult conversations. So creating a safe environment for your employees doesn't mean you need to be weak. There's a balance. Sometimes when you talk about transformational leadership, many people tend to think it means, you're like a huge teddy bear hugging your employees every morning and giving them carrot cake and hot chocolate at the end of the day. No, that is not leadership.
That is not leadership.
That is not leadership.
So what is leadership?
First of all, it's influence.
Okay.
So who are you as an individual? Because leadership in a nutshell is influence. Who are you? Are they able to emulate what you do? Are you somebody your people want to be more like? Do they look up to you as a mentor, as a coach? Do they admire who you are? That is influence. Then we talked about being able to intellectually stimulate your people. So you're somebody who makes them think for solutions, makes them think out of the box. You want to see them excel, so you push them a bit. It doesn't mean now you're covering them, but you push them. You give them something that will stretch them.
Yeah.
Okay? As a leader, you need to inspire your people. Remember, at the board level, we talk a lot about strategy. So if you're, a leader, a senior leader, or even a business owner, you know your strategy, your vision, your mission, where you want to be in 5 years. But to the person, the operation staff, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. A famous story is told about two people who were digging holes at a construction site. And one was asked, so what are you doing? A passerby asked him, what are you doing? And one said, I'm digging a hole. And the other one said, I'm building a hospital.
Oh.
Yeah. But they were doing the same activity. Same activity. Same situation. But one understood, I'm building a hospital. So do your people understand that they are building a hospital and not digging a hole? Is it very clear for them? So you need to be able to translate that strategy, that vision, because they don't know, especially if you're a business leader. They don't even understand how their job relates to your big vision.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have to really clarify, and that's inspiration. Then leadership again is knowing your people individually. Sometimes you have a team, you know, how do I lead so and so? How do I lead so and so? Because leadership, you cannot lead everybody the same. By the way, it's true. It doesn't work for everybody.
True.
Yeah. There are people who are, engaged when they receive higher salaries. There are people salary does nothing for them. It's true. There are people
They're
who
not as
want
impressed,
recognition. There
yeah.
are people who love, better job opportunities. There are people who love training. There are people who want growth. There are people who want that extension. So you must know your people. And that's why sometimes you encourage leaders to have smaller, chit chat with your people. Get to know who has a new baby. Get to know whose birthday it is. Get to know how do they spend their Christmas time. Because all these now enables you to lead. But it doesn't mean you're soft. It doesn't mean you're just hugging people every day and not having those difficult conversations. So as a leader, you need to lead. Secondly, on the question you asked, we can't disagree that we have toxic employees as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Because, I don't want the leaders to feel that it's all up to them. There's a small percentage. Like in every sack of potatoes, we will have
There's
what?
always, one or two that
Exactly.
spoils the whole.
Yes. So you need to understand that as a leader. And sometimes leaders find themselves even second guessing themselves, wondering, do I lack authority? Why are they always pushing back? Why are they always disagreeing? Why are they always... And it is important for a leader to be at a space where you know yourself, you have emotional intelligence. You even know when you're being insecure. Why I'm saying this is sometimes your employee might just be asking a normal question, just challenging an idea you have raised. That doesn't mean they're a toxic employee. Are you able to take feedback as a leader? Because that is when we call you an emotional intelligent leader. Or do you view feedback as an attack?
As a threat.
As a threat. So there's a lot around leadership.
There's a lot, but what I'm hearing is, as long as you're a leader, it's mostly on you.
It's mostly
how to
on
handle
you.
the team, how to handle your employees.
Yes.
It all falls back on you.
Yes. And that's why it's a continuous learning process, because you're leading people. They are all looking up to you for your leadership.
Interesting. Now, hold that thought. You've said you're one of those people who say, thank God it's Monday. Me and 99,000 others do not agree to that fact, okay? We don't like Mondays at all. Why do you think workplaces, we just think work and we think it has just stripped off the joy of us just enjoying going to work and getting food on our tables? Why do we dread Mondays so much in our work lives?
I'll go back to our economy again. And not everybody has the luxury to have that job that they love. Or sometimes you think the grass is always greener on the other side.
Greener on the other
By
side.
the way, if you go, if you peruse through your LinkedIn, you see everybody who has your dream job, right?
True.
But they don't like Mondays either.
They don't. And even you, when you switch your own job, you end up not liking it that much.
Yeah. And, we can go into how do you prepare for your week? I work with teams, and I'm a coach as well. So I see people in my office all the time who hate their jobs. And sometimes, by the way, I've had people who've ended up loving their jobs after our coaching sessions. There are three types.
What?
Yes.
So you're a miracle Monday loving worker, because I don't get it. How? The job hasn't changed. The JD hasn't changed. I'm going to the same place every other
Your
Monday.
boss hasn't changed.
My boss hasn't. My co-worker who annoys me every day hasn't changed. So how do I become happier in that space?
Yeah. So there's what you can do and there's what your leader, your boss can do.
All right.
Yes. But then let's look at what you can do as an employee, because really you can't control your boss. We'll talk about the bosses, but what can you do? You need to understand that there are 3 types of workplaces. So we have growth workplaces, we have endurance workplaces, and we have exit workplaces. So growth workplaces grow you. But remember, growth is never fun.
Yeah.
Growth is never fun. For you to be who you are today, you have gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need to distinguish, because sometimes you want to exit and you're, calling your workplace a toxic workplace, but it's a growth environment. It's pushing you, it's challenging you, but it's also giving you confidence. It's also giving you skills. It's giving you, it's taking you to rooms, you would never have been into. You're being asked to act for this position.
Yeah.
And that means you'll have to face the board, or you'll have to make presentations to this team of managers. And you hate that. It's giving you're dreading the Monday because of that presentation that you'll have to give to those managers. And they will ask difficult questions. And that is making you hate Mondays. But it's growing you.
It's pushing you into a new level
of
yourself.
Yes, so that is one thing we should not deny. Yeah. Because it doesn't mean my workplace should feel like me binging on Netflix. No. It will never feel like that.
It's called work for a reason.
Yes, it's called work. So the growth place will do that to you. So before labeling it toxic environment, ask yourself, but am I growing? Am I growing? Because the worst thing is to stagnate, is to be in a place where you don't grow. That disengages employees properly. So appreciate that you're growing.
That something is happening.
Yes. Then we have the endurance workplaces. They are not so good. There's, you're being pushed, yes, but you don't have support. When you talk about resources, you're being given tasks to accomplish, but you don't have enough resources. Your boss is never really supportive, but they expect a lot from you. So you understand, okay, this space is a growth. I'm growing, yes, but I'm really struggling. It's I'm not happy to be here. A 1, 2, 3, 4 needs to change, but it's not happening. Grow. But I can endure for a while, maybe peak on the growth that I'm meant to go through before thinking of exiting. And then there's the exit environment. That's a workplace where it's destroying you. I've worked with teams whose bosses even become violent with them. Your boss slaps you.
Excuse me?
Yes, it happens. It happens. Exactly, it happens. We've had,
No comment. Your boss slaps you and you're still in that situation.
You're still there. Remember, we need to pay the bills.
I get it, but there has to be a line of dignity.
Exactly, and that's why
respect.
That's why they're exit workplaces, they're exit environments. If you stay there for so long, your confidence will be ruined. You'll start second guessing yourself. You'll be depressed, health, so many side effects of being in that workplace. Okay. So when you talk about toxic workplaces, now these exit environments are toxic workplaces. They are places that will deteriorate you. You'll feel unseen. Your confidence will be destroyed. There are spaces that you should not be for long. So when you're in these spaces, the best thing to do is exit. And exit, start having an exit plan, a plan B, start applying for jobs. Where are you going next? And understanding that you're not the problem, that the problem is
actually
the organization, and the environment you are in.
So I like bringing this all back to women. Do you find this more with women who don't speak up in toxic environments? And can women be successful and still disconnected with their workplaces?
A very important question. And I work a lot with women, especially when it comes to coaching. And this goes to millennial women. I don't know. I don't think Gen Zs have that problem per se, because millennials have a problem with speaking up.
We do. We're such people pleasers. Personally, me, count me present. I'm such a people pleaser, Lord. It is so bad.
Yes.
It is so bad.
We do. And I remember there's a I was in, I think, in a podcast or a training where somebody asked me that question, and I mentioned you can be working very hard and even your boss is not aware that you're doing all that work because we don't speak up. You don't want to be visible. It's seen as, is it bragging?
You're proud.
Yes.
And I don't know who made us think that being proud is a bad thing.
Exactly.
It's not a bad thing to be seen and appreciated for who you are.
And for genuine good work that you have accomplished, it's something to be proud of. For your qualifications, it's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
But for most women, we take that back seat. And we feel it's a bit boisterous talking about our accomplishments, what we are able to do, even wanting to rise in the organization. We feel like, are we really good enough? And for women, remember, we have more challenges than, especially those who get into family and, have babies, because if you have 4 babies like me, you can imagine how much time.
Girl. 4. In this economy. We will stay in that toxic place. Sorry. No, we won't. We'll try to find an exit strategy. But you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you end up taking so much time off your workplace. And so when you come back and you're still very quiet, you're shooting yourself on the foot.
Yeah.
So you need to be very visible. Let it be in record what your achievements are. Another issue that women also, struggle with is carrying everybody's burden within the organization. Because you're good at something.
Rich sister.
Because you're good at 1, 2, 3, 4.
You do it for everybody.
You do it for everybody.
You're good at doing presentations.
Yes.
You do it for everybody.
You do it for everybody. You do it for everybody. And
is it a flaw we have? I don't even. It's sad. It's sad. Though.
Yeah, it's deeply rooted in some of us. Issues that probably stem from our childhood and our upbringing, but it's something in the workplace that we need to be cognizant too. Yeah, because and you can easily decline. You can easily offer guidance, but it doesn't mean you're the one carrying that that task fully. You can tell your colleague, oh, I appreciate you need my help in this. I'm willing to step in when you need me, but I don't think I can offer you much because this is even your area. This is your area of speciality. Yeah. Something else, women, we carry a lot emotionally.
Yeah, we do. We are very emotional.
Very emotional beings. So you had a fight with somebody at home.
You carry it to the workplace.
And it's interesting. The person you had a fight with at home, maybe they don't even remember. They're busy making a board presentation. They're not even aware.
Yeah.
So, just being able to distinguish, I'm a person, that's a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm an entity. When the relationship is dysfunctional, doesn't mean I'm dysfunctional as well. That's a different entity.
That's a whole other topic.
Yes, that's a whole other topic. But being able to do that can really propel us as women. And just understanding that, even at work, women find it difficult to have those difficult conversations. Yeah. They'd rather go and talk, to their friends during lunch hour or call a friend and talk about their boss.
But
sometimes
not face it head
your
on.
boss is not aware. And we think that they are. And we think they're treating you this way because they hate you. Sometimes they are not aware. So just keeping everything professional, responding, to an email professionally, I don't understand. Because sometimes we also carry our own trauma. And when even your boss says hi, why is she saying hi?
What's changed today?
Yes, And sometimes it's so we are trying to create drama even where it doesn't exist. There. Yes. So even working on ourselves, on our mental health, because that plays a role, even for us to label an organization a toxic work environment, labeling a boss a toxic boss. But sometimes we are carrying our own trauma. We are dealing with, something from our past that we need to deal with. And that's why I say when I see clients for coaching, there are those who end up loving their workplaces
Yeah.
and shifting their lenses
Yeah.
because they believed I'm hated, I'm not loved, I will never be appreciated, nobody cares about me. But then it was their own trauma.
True.
And just having those conversations, even with their leaders, transforms the whole work
everything.
relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. So before I ask you the last question, I know you're an author and you have a wonderful book.
Yep.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I'm working on the second edition. So this is, thank God, it's Monday again. So I wrote this during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is for leaders. You know, if you've opened your business, you know, you have your small team, you're leading a big organization, you know, you're a senior executive in your organization. So how do you transform your employees into a highly engaged workforce? Because we've talked about engagement.
Yes.
It's what will give you results.
True.
It's what will make employees give you that extra that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this book is available on my website, Elite Leadership. You can check and see what other services we have there. It's an incredible organization that does a lot. So you can get a copy of the book from the website. Yeah. Yeah.
So now my final question would be, what's a rare view that you think people need to unlearn when it comes to workspaces, both leaders, both employees? What do we need to unlearn?
We need to unlearn the fallacy of just being mediocre, for lack of a better word.
I was not expecting that. Yeah, but I do understand. Sometimes we are mediocre.
We are mediocre. And you know, I'll talk about it from the leader's point of view, because I know almost everybody watching this is talking about I hate Mondays.
Yeah.
But have they looked at their performance or their deliverables through their employer's eyes? You know, and I've seen the new crop of employees who come into the workforce don't ask themselves this question: what value am I adding
here?
Because it's very important to ask yourself that question. Work has shifted from, you arriving to your workplace in the morning, doing your bare minimum, and leaving at the end of the day. Work has evolved. We want to, because right now we don't even care whether you're in the office or not.
Yeah.
What we care about is, are you adding value?
Yes.
So before we talk about workplaces being toxic and our bosses not liking us, you know, and them being toxic, we need to do an internal assessment and ask ourselves.
Like an internal audit.
Yes, audit yourself, you know, and I encourage my employees to, but it's become a culture in my organization, not from me. And I'm not waiting for you at the end of the financial year for appraisal. No, I want you to self-appraise. At the end of every week, at the end of every month, ask yourself, what value have I added? And it's not about ticking the boxes when it comes to your targets. Value means that extra. And that is what workplaces are shifting to. And even in the age of AI, are you replaceable? When you're giving your bare minimum, yes, there's a risk of being replaced.
Yeah.
So are you able to self-audit and really declare yourself valuable in that organization before? And valuable means the extra, the engaged, the
Going
innovative thinking, going further. Yes.
I hear you.
Self-audit and understand what your value is in that organization.
In summary, we ain't doing mediocre. We ain't doing mediocre. There's a song I would have sung, but I don't want it to take me elsewhere. So, as we wrap up, tell people where they can find you and if they need to reach out to you, how to do that.
So as I mentioned before, my organization is called Elite Leadership. You can check out our website. We are based on Riverside Drive. So I do a lot of corporate training, leadership coaching, I help organizations transform their teams. That is what I do. Taking organizations from mediocrity to thanking God it's Monday. And this is visible when it comes to, when you're assessing employees, they're happy to be in the organization again. When you look at revenue, when you look at performance, that is what I do. And you're welcome to work with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Doris. And thank you for coming to Review Podcast. And until next time. Bye.